My husband's assistant called him sir at work, but baby in her texts. One night, he came home late, smiling at his phone. When he fell asleep, I scrolled through his messages. I can't wait until she's out of the picture. My blood ran cold. The next morning, I dressed in my best suit and showed up at his office. His assistant greeted me with a fake smile. I handed her an envelope. "Since you're so eager to take my place, you'll love this." She opened it and screamed. My husband rushed over, eyes wide. I smiled. "Don't worry, I sent a copy to HR too. I'm Olivia. 42, I live in Chicago. Been married to Mark, 45, for 18 years. We have 2 kids, a 16-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son. I thought we had a solid marriage." I truly did. Mark works as a senior manager at a tech company downtown. He's been in that job for about 5 years now. For the longest time, I supported him through everything. Early career moves, late-night meetings, work travel, and the stress that came with being the guy who gets things done at his job. I never once suspected he'd betray me like this. Things started changing about 8 months ago. Slowly, but surely. He was home later than usual. At first, it was the big project excuse. Then it was the end-of-quarter crunch. I didn't question it much. I was used to his job taking over our evenings sometimes. But what really got to me was the way he started treating me. Short replies. Less affection. Less everything. He stopped asking me how I was doing. Didn't notice when I got a new haircut or changed something at home. Just distant. He would always be on his phone, always typing, always smiling at it when he thought I wasn't looking. I tried to tell myself it was stress. Maybe even a midlife thing. But one night pushed everything over the edge. It was a Thursday night. He got home around 10:30 p.m. He smelled like cologne, not his usual one. I was already in bed, pretending to scroll through my phone, but I was watching him. He walked in smiling. Not at me. At his phone. He sat on the edge of the bed, still texting someone, laughing under his breath. I asked, "What's funny?" He jumped a little, as if he forgot I was even there. Said something about a meme his coworker sent. He mumbled goodnight and fell asleep with the phone still in his hand. I waited until he was deep asleep, mouth slightly open, light snoring. I took the phone, heart pounding. I knew his passcode. It's the same one he's used for years. Part of me didn't want to look, but the rest of me couldn't not look. His messages were full of texts from Sophia. Sophia is 29. She's been his assistant for about a year. I met her once at the company Christmas party. She was polite. Called him sir even at the party. I remember thinking she was just professional. But these texts? Miss you already. Wish we didn't have to hide. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then the one that made my blood run cold, I can't wait until she's out of the picture. I sat there shaking. Scrolling. Reading months of messages. Photos. Memes. Inside jokes. Long rants about how Olivia doesn't get it and how you deserve someone who worships you. Her words. Not mine. He had been living a double life. And I had been the fool cooking dinner, doing laundry, taking care of the kids, while he texted baby to his assistant under my nose. I didn't sleep that night. I sat up thinking about every dinner he skipped. Every conference call he had to take while turning his phone away from me. Every time he picked a fight just to leave the house. It all made sense. The next morning, I got up early, got dressed in my sharpest suit, the one I wore to important family events and the last wedding we attended. I printed every message I could find. Screenshots. Dates. Times. I made copies. One for her. One for him. One for HR. I drove downtown. I walked straight into the lobby of his office building. The receptionist asked if I had an appointment. I said, I'm his wife. Her face went stiff and she buzzed me in. Sophia was sitting at her desk, typing. She looked up and gave me a smile that was way too fake. Olivia. What a surprise, she said, trying to keep her voice light. I didn't say much. I just handed her an envelope. Since you're so eager to take my place, I said, you'll love this. She opened it right there. Her face dropped. Her hands shook. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. She didn't say anything. Just stared at the papers. Within seconds, Mark came out of his office, clearly hearing the tension. What's going on, he said, already knowing something was very wrong. I looked right at him. Calm. Cold. Don't worry, I said. I sent a copy to HR too. He looked like his world just imploded. He tried to talk. Said my name. Reached out. I walked right past him. I haven't decided what happens next. The fallout is still going. HR contacted me. Mark has been trying to talk, texting constantly. I haven't replied. The kids don't know yet. I'm still figuring out how to tell them that their dad chose to destroy our family for a woman he works with. And to everyone reading this who might be in a similar situation, trust your gut. The signs are always there. I just didn't want to see them. I didn't go home after that scene at his office. I drove to a park near Lake Michigan and just sat in the car for 2 hours. I stared at the water, the trees, the people walking their dogs, laughing, living normal lives. And I sat there, shattered. I thought that handing Sophia those messages would be the explosion. That everything would fall into place after that. But I was wrong. That was just the start. By the time I got home, Mark had already called me 5 times. Left 2 voicemails. They sounded desperate. Please come home. We need to talk. It's not what you think. Classic cheater lines. I didn't respond. That night, I slept in the guest room. He slept in ours. I locked the door from the inside. My kids noticed something was off, but I just told them I was tired. I couldn't look them in the eyes without feeling like my whole world was a lie. The next morning, I got a call from Mark's sister, Rachel. She sounded panicked. Olivia, what's going on? Mark called crying. He said you're going to ruin his life. Ruin his life? I told her everything. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, you need to know something. Apparently, Sophia wasn't just some assistant with a crush. She had a history. She used to work at another firm in New York. Had a thing with her boss there too. That boss ended up losing his job, getting divorced, and, according to Rachel, he drank himself into rehab a few months after. No one could prove anything, and Sophia left the job quietly. But Rachel said she always had a bad feeling about her. The way she looked at Mark, the way she hung around at family events longer than she needed to. Why didn't she tell me sooner? Rachel sighed. I thought I was just being paranoid. So now, not only was I dealing with a cheating husband, but also a woman who might have been targeting him for months. Maybe years. That's when I stopped crying. The pain turned into anger. 2 days later, I got a call from HR at his company. They thanked me for bringing the messages forward. Said they had launched an internal investigation. But here's the twist, Sophia was denying everything. She claimed I faked the messages. Said I was a jealous, bitter wife trying to destroy her reputation. She even told them I had a history of emotional problems and had acted aggressively in the office. I laughed out loud on the phone. Aggressive? I handed her an envelope and walked out. That was it. But the HR rep said they needed both sides and would continue reviewing the evidence. Meanwhile, Mark was still trying to talk to me. Still texting me things like it didn't mean anything and it was just a mistake. But then, like an idiot, he slipped. One night, 3 days after everything blew up, he left his laptop open in the living room. I guess he thought I was asleep. I walked past it and something caught my eye, a private email thread between him and Sophia. It was dated after I handed her the envelope. Her message read, "She's more unhinged than we thought. You need to get ahead of this before she does something drastic. Maybe tell people she's had mental health issues before?" And he replied, "I'll handle it. This just has to blow over." That was it for me. He wasn't just cheating. He was planning damage control with her. He was preparing to make me look like a crazy person so he could protect his job, maybe even stay with her. So I forwarded the thread to myself. Then to HR. Then to my lawyer. The next day, I filed for separation. I haven't told the kids yet, but it's coming. I'm preparing. That was a week ago. And just when I thought it couldn't get more twisted, something else happened. Sophia showed up at my house. It was Saturday afternoon. I was home alone. Mark had taken the kids to a movie to spend time with them and maybe soften the blow for what was coming. I opened the door and there she was. Wearing sunglasses, holding her phone in one hand, a fake smile on her face. "I think we should talk," she said. I wanted to slam the door, but I didn't. I wanted to hear what kind of madness she was about to say. She stepped inside like she belonged there. Looked around at the living room, the family photos on the wall, the coat rack, the pile of laundry in the corner. My life. Then she looked at me and said, "He's not going to choose you." I didn't respond. I just stared. She went on. "You can't compete with me. You're older. You've got kids. He's not in love with you anymore." I don't know what came over me. I walked to the drawer, pulled out the envelope that still had a copy of their messages, and held it up. "You think he loves you? Read what he wrote to HR. Read what he said about protecting his name. You're a tool. He used you. Just like he used me." She went pale. I walked to the door and opened it wide. "Get out. Before I call the police." She left. But something tells me, this isn't over. Not by a long shot. After Sophia showed up at my house and left with her tail between her legs, I thought maybe I'd won something. Not the war, but maybe a small battle. I was wrong again. 3 days later, I got a knock at the door. It wasn't Sophia this time. It was a man in a gray suit, early 50s, holding a folder and a business card. He introduced himself as Daniel Russo. Said he was a private investigator, hired by Mark's company. At first, I thought maybe he was here to ask about the messages. But then he said something that stopped me cold. "Do you know about the corporate account Sophia and your husband have been charging things to?" I blinked. "What?" He nodded. "We found multiple charges on an internal card, hotel rooms, gifts, restaurants. Mark approved them. Most are under client entertainment. But we checked the dates. They line up with when Sophia was supposedly working late with him." This man was calm. Professional. But what he said next made my stomach turn. "There's suspicion of financial misconduct. HR asked us to look into it quietly. You're not the only one Mark has been lying to. Now it wasn't just cheating. It was fraud. Mark wasn't just risking our marriage. He was risking jail time." I let that sit in my brain for a minute. While I'd been crying myself to sleep and wondering how to tell my kids their dad was a traitor, he was out there billing romantic dinners to the company card like it was a game. I asked Daniel, "Why are you telling me all this?" He said, "Because you're named on some of the shared accounts. They're trying to determine what's personal and what's business. Your name being clean matters now." Clean. The word echoed in my head. My name. My reputation. My life. So I gave Daniel everything. Screenshots. The forwarded emails. Notes about dates Mark said he was working late. I even gave him the name of the restaurant he always came home smelling like. He thanked me and left. Later that night, Mark came home, clearly agitated. He slammed the door louder than usual. His face was flushed. "You talked to someone from my office?" I stared at him. "You mean the private investigator?" "Yeah. He showed me everything." His face fell. "You're ruining me," he said. "No," I said. "You ruined yourself. I'm just holding up the mirror." But here's the next twist, and believe me, I wish I were making this up. 2 days after that conversation, Sophia filed a restraining order against me. She claimed I'd been threatening her, stalking her, and causing emotional distress. I had to go to court. There I was, standing in front of a judge, listening to her lawyer say I lunged at her during the office visit, that I had a history of erratic behavior, and that she feared for her safety. Mark wasn't even there. He sent a written statement saying he could not be involved in the conflict. Coward. Thankfully, I had receipts, literally. Texts. Emails. Even the office security footage. Turns out, the company had cameras in the hallway. You could clearly see I never even touched her. The judge dismissed it. But the damage was done. Word got out. Whispers started. The kids heard rumors at school. "Is your mom really stalking your dad's girlfriend?" My daughter came home crying one day. Said a teacher pulled her aside and asked if everything was okay at home. I started to realize Sophia wasn't just some fling. She was methodical. She wanted me gone. Not just from Mark's life, but from everywhere. I was sitting in my car one night, watching the rain, when my phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. A message popped up: "He promised me you'd be gone by now. Why are you still here?" I froze. Then another: "You'll lose. Women like you always do." It had to be her. But it was from a burner number. Untraceable. And then something even darker happened. I got a call from my son's school. The principal said someone had tried to verify custody records. Claimed to be a family member. Asked if Mark had full custody. I nearly vomited. They didn't give out any info, but they had to report it. Said it felt off. I confronted Mark that night. Told him someone was messing with the kids' records. He just stared at me. "You're paranoid." I said, "Tell that to the principal." He walked away. I looked at the man I had built a life with, shared meals, bills, kids, memories, and I didn't recognize him anymore. He was a stranger. And now I wasn't just fighting for my marriage. I was fighting to protect my kids, my name, my sanity. I still don't know how deep this goes. I still haven't told the full truth to the kids. I'm afraid of how they'll look at their father when they know. But I've started gathering everything. Every message. Every weird call. Every unmarked envelope that's shown up at my door. Because something tells me, this isn't about love anymore. It's a game. And I'm the one ruining their script just by standing my ground. The day it all came crashing down started like any other. Gray skies. Quiet house. Kids at school. Mark at work. But something in me shifted that morning. I looked at myself in the mirror, eyes tired, heart tired, and I thought, this has to end. I wasn't going to keep waiting for another shoe to drop. I was done watching this play out like some twisted soap opera while they tried to rewrite me out of my own life. I got in the car, drove to his office one last time. Only this time I wasn't alone. I called Rachel, his sister. Told her everything. The PI. The court. The burner texts. The school. She was horrified. She met me downtown, and we walked into his building together. The receptionist looked nervous when she saw us. Word had clearly spread. We got buzzed in, and within seconds, there she was again, Sophia. Sitting at her desk, pretending to type, but her eyes locked onto me like a cat watching a threat. "You're not supposed to be here," she said sharply. I ignored her. Looked past her. "Where's Mark?" Rachel was the one who broke the silence. "You said you loved her. That Olivia was your partner. So explain this. Explain how you let it get this far." Mark didn't look at her. He looked at me. "I never wanted to hurt you," he said. I laughed. A dry, bitter sound. "That line's worn out." He sighed. "It started, slowly. I didn't mean for it to happen." "You didn't mean to start an affair, lie for months, and throw your family under the bus to protect your job?" I said, voice cracking. "Then what did you mean to do?" Tears welled up in his eyes. I was tired. I felt invisible. She listened. She made me feel important? I snapped. Like I didn't do that? Like raising your kids, running our house, putting your dreams ahead of mine for 18 years was nothing? He said nothing. Rachel looked at him, disgusted. "You know what hurts most, Mark? It's not the cheating. It's the fact you tried to make her the victim." And then, for the first time, he said something honest. "I thought if I could make you look crazy, I wouldn't have to feel guilty. That maybe people would believe it was mutual. That I didn't destroy everything for someone who wouldn't even be here in a year. And that was it. That was the truth. Not love. Not passion. Just weakness." The weight of it hit me all at once. I stood up, chest tight, heart pounding. "I don't care what HR does. I don't care what happens to your job. I'm not staying. I'm not forgiving. I'm not dragging myself through this mess to make you feel better." He tried to speak, but I was already walking. As I opened the door, Sophia was standing just outside. Eavesdropping. "You got what you wanted," I said to her quietly. "Let's see how long you enjoy it now that there's nothing left to steal." She didn't reply. But her face said everything. She looked shaken. Not victorious, just exposed. Mark tried to call. Every day for 2 weeks. Left long voicemails. Apologies. Blame. Regret. Promises. I didn't answer. The kids took it hard. My daughter cried for days. My son got quiet, stopped talking at dinner. I explained things slowly, carefully. Told them the truth in pieces. Not all at once. Rachel was a rock. She helped with the kids. Stayed with me the night the papers went through. The PI's report eventually made it to the company board. Mark was suspended without pay pending investigation. Sophia was let go under a quiet HR exit. No fireworks. Just paperwork. One night, a month later, Mark came to the house. Not to beg. Just to see the kids. I let him in. He looked older. Like the weight of everything had finally landed on him. "I don't expect you to forgive me," he said. "I don't," I said. He nodded. "But I hope someday we can be okay. For the kids." That part, I didn't promise. But I didn't slam the door either. It's been 5 months now. I'm not over it. I'm not healed. But I'm standing. Stronger than before. I see a therapist weekly. The kids do, too. We're rebuilding, one truth at a time. I still get the occasional text from someone who heard what happened. Some offer sympathy. Others offer silence. I've learned to accept both. What hurts most isn't the betrayal. It's that I stopped listening to my instincts for so long. But here's what I know now: you can love someone deeply, and still walk away. You can be loyal for years, and still not be respected. And sometimes, survival isn't loud. It's quiet. It's in the choice to wake up and keep going. Do I miss him? No. I miss the version of him I thought was real. Will I ever trust someone like that again? Maybe. But not easily. And maybe that's okay. Because now, I trust me more than I ever did before. I used to think strength looked like staying. But I've learned, sometimes strength is leaving. Even when your whole world begs you to stay.